Hello everyone. Welcome to Career Launcher, and today we are going to talk about Quant CAT 2025. And in today's session, we have taken few questions of previous year of arithmetic, and this is the second session of percentage. We have already covered one session of percentage. If you haven't watched that session, just go and watch that session as well, because in that session we have covered few questions, and in this session we are going to cover few more questions of CAT 2025. Okay, so now let's start. What does this question says? In a group of people, 28% of the members are young, while rest of the people are old. Okay, if 65% of the members are literate and 25% of the literates are young, then the percentage of people among percentage of old people among illiterates is nearest to. Okay, so what should be approach of these kind of questions? Okay, so whenever you see a question like this, okay, what is the approach you are going to take? So in this question, if you look at the data is given into two format. One is in terms of age, there are young people, there are old people. Second, the same data is given in another format, that is based on literacy. People are literate, people are illiterate. Okay, so what's going to happen? So whenever you have the same data in two or more formats, do one thing: make a table. That make things easier. It makes easy to visualize the data. So it doesn't make a difference where you put young and old. I'm going to put it on top. So this is young people, this is old people, then we have literate people, then we have illiterate people. And I am assuming total number of people are 100. Okay. Now out of 100, 28% are young. So what is the young value? That is 28. So what is the old value? 72. Okay, that's what that is given to us. Okay, 60% of members are literates. Okay, so what is the total literate value? That is 65. So what is the value of illiterate? That is 35. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, now 25% of literates are young. Okay, so 25% of 65 means that is close to 16, or I would say 16.25. Okay, then this value comes out to be 11.75, because the sum of these two should be equal to 28. Okay, now and the question is saying, then what percent of the old people among illiterates? Okay, so how many young people among illiterates? That is 11.75 divided by 35 into 100. So this value is close to 33%. You can say 12 by 36. So this value, old people among the illiterates, is going to be close to 66-67%. So answer of this question is going to be option D, that is 66%, and that's the approach you can take to solve these kind of questions. So is this question difficult? No. Is it doable in the exam? Yes, you can definitely do this question in exam. And to visualize the data very clearly, if you make table, things will be far more easier for you. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. What does it says? Okay, so in May, John bought the same amount of rice and same amount of wheat as he bought in April. Okay, but he spent 150 more due to price increase of rice and wheat by 20% and 12% respectively. Okay, so the price of rice increased by 20%, price of wheat increased by 12%. Okay, now it says in April, John is spending on rice. It is April and it is May. Okay. Okay. On rice, he is spending 450. Okay. The price of rice increased by 20% because quantity he's buying is same, right? So the total expenditure will also increase by 20%. So 20% increase, it means 20% of 450 will be 90. So total increase in rice is going to be, total expenditure on rice in May is going to be 450 plus 90. So there is an increase of 90 rupees in the expenditure of rice. Okay. What is the total increase on wheat? Okay. And total increase is 150. In rice, the increase of 90 rupees. So in wheat, what is the increase? That is 60 rupees. What is the expenditure on wheat? That is Y. Now it increased by 12%, means 12% of Y is equal to 60 rupees. So this is going to be 5. So Y comes out to be 500. Okay. So expenditure on wheat in April was 500 rupees. So in May, expenditure is going to be 500 plus 60 rupees, or I would say 560 rupees. So answer of this question is going to be option A. That is fairly simple question. Can be done very easily. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. What does it say? Okay. In the final examination, Vishnu scored 52%, Asha scored 64%. Okay. So I'm just drawing a number line. We have done a similar type of question, I think, in the previous session as well. So that was also a CAT question. So Vishnu is here. He's standing at 52%. Asha is here. She is scoring 64%. The marks obtained by Vishnu is 23 less, and that by Asha is 34 marks obtained by Ramesh. Okay. So Ramesh is lying in between. Vishnu's marks is less than marks obtained by Ramesh by 23. So this difference comes out to be 23. Okay. Asha is scoring 34 more than Ramesh. So this difference is 34. Okay. So what is the total difference we are talking about? That is going to be 55. This is going to be what? 23 and okay, 57. Now 57 is what? 57, this difference of 57 is equal to 12% of the total marks. Okay, so 12% of marks is 57. Now the question is saying the marks obtained by Geeta, who scored 84% is. So basically, Geeta is scoring 84% and 84 is 12 into 7. So basically, 12% of the marks is 57. So 84% of the marks will be 57 into 7. So that is going to be 7 sevens are 49, 4, and 7 fives are 35 plus 4 is 99. So marks scored by Geeta, that is 84%, and that should be equal to 399. This is a direct question if you solve it by number line. And this question is very beautiful. Why it is very beautiful? Because in this question, you don't need to calculate what are the total number of marks, what are the marks of Asha, what are the marks of Ramesh, what is the marks of Vishnu. This question is directly giving you the marks obtained by Geeta. You don't have to calculate anything else. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Okay, now what does it say? Okay, identical chocolate pieces are sold in boxes of two sizes, small and large. Okay, now the large box is sold twice the price of small box. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is we have a small box and we have a large box. Okay, a small box has a price of 100 rupees. That's just an assumption. And large box has a price of 200 rupees. Okay. If the selling price per gram of the chocolate of the large box is 12% less than that of small box. Okay. Price per gram, I am assuming in a small box is 1. So in large box, it's going to be 0.88 because it is 12% less. Okay. Now, what does it ask? Then the percentage by which the weight of chocolate in the large box exceed that in the small box. Okay, so I'm going to get weights, and from those weights we need to get the percentage change. Okay. So what is the weight of small? The price is 100, price per gram is 1, so total weight in the small is going to be 100. Okay. Total weight in the large is going to be total price divided by price per gram, that is 200 divided by 0.88. Remove the decimal, increase zeros, cancel it by 4, so this is going to be 22, this is going to be 50. So now I'm going to cancel it by what 2, so that is going to be 200 and 2500 divided by 11. So this value comes out to be 200 divided by 11 is going to be close to 227 around, point something. Okay. So total weight of small box is 100. Total weight of the large box is close to 227. Now, what is the percentage increase? So increase is of 127 divided by initial weight, that is the weight of this, into 100 into 100. So what is the percentage increase? That's going to be 127 grams. That's option C. So it's a fairly easy question. So just in this question, how am I saying it's an easy question? Because I'm assuming a lot of values, right? So in these kind of questions, if you assume a lot of numbers, then more likely you are going to get it right, and calculation will not be much. But if you get into variables like the weight of the first one is x, weight of the second one is 2x, then price per gram is y, then price per gram is 0.88y. Now that is going to create a lot of confusion when you are solving the question, and in any exam it won't be suggested that you should use any of the variables. These kind of questions can directly be solved by assuming any value. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. What does it say? Okay. Now Raj invested 10,000 in a fund. Okay. So let's say he's investing 10,000 at a fund. At the end of first year, okay, at the end of first year, he incurred a loss. Okay. So the price is decreasing by some value. Okay. But the balance was more than 5,000. It means the decrement over here should be less than 50%. Because let's say he is losing 60% in the first year, then the amount here is going to be 4,000. That's not possible. But balance was still more than 5,000. It means loss must be less than 50%. This is what I can figure out till this point. Okay. This balance, we got some balance when invested for another year, and the percentage growth in the second year was 5 times the percentage of loss in the first year. Okay. So let's say we have X% loss in the first year. So in the next year, there is a profit of 5X%. Okay. If the gain of Raj from initial investment over the 2 years period is 35%. Okay. So this is 10,000 and this is 10,000 and overall increase is 35%. So this amount becomes 13,500. Okay. Now the percentage of loss for Raj in the very first year. Okay. Let's take, I'm just directly taking option A, and C is directly rejected because X is 70 and this should be less than 50. So C cannot be the answer. Now I'm just checking with option 1. So minus 10%, 10% decrement. So this value comes out to be 9,000. Okay. So if X is 10, then this value should be 50. So 50% increase. So 50% of 9,000 is 4,500. So 9,000 plus 4,500 gives you 13,500. So basically, every value matches with this. So my answer is directly going to be option A, and I don't need to look for any other option. So it is simply going to be option A. Now, in this question, how many options you actually need to check? There is only one option you need to check. 70 is not a possible value, that we have already concluded. If I am doing this as, if I'm using 10, let's say 10 is not the answer, and this value is, instead of 13,500, instead of that, the value is, let's say, 16,000, right? So the value of x should be higher because the increase should be higher. So my answer should have been greater than 10. In that case, it would have been 15. If by using 10, the value is uh, I'm getting 14,000 and this value is less than 14,000, then in that case, my answer should have been less than 10. In that case, it would have been 5%. So basically, by using one option, you can directly get the answer of these kind of questions. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. What does it say? Now it says the total of male and female populations in a city increased by 25% from 1970 to 1980. In the same period, the male population increased by 40%, while the female population increased by 20%. Okay. So increase in male population is 40%, increase in female population is 20%, and overall increase in the population is 25. So we can directly use alligation in this. So this is going to be 5, this is going to be 15, and this is going to be 1:3. So it means the in 1970 male is to female ratio is 1:3. So what I am doing, I am writing male, I am writing female, I am writing 1970. So in 1970 I am assuming number of males are 100, the number of females are going to be 300, and total population is going to be 400. Okay. Now what happened in 1980? Male increased by 40%. Okay. So male has become 140. Female increased by 20%. So 20% of 300 is 60. So female has become 360. Okay. Then from 1980 to 1990, 1980 to 1919, female increased by 25%. So 25% is one fourth. One fourth of what? One fourth of 360. So women increased by 90. So women has become 450. This is what we know. So this value comes out to be, I think it is 500. Now, in 1990, okay, if the female population, this is twice the male population. So male population is going to be 225. So female population is 450. So male population is going to be 225. So it is going to be 675. Okay. Then the percentage increase in total of male and female population in the city from 1970 to 1990. So in 1990 it was 675. In 1970 it is 400. So what is the percentage increase? So there is an increase of 275 out of 400 into 100. So this is 4, 6 are 24. 24, 335. So this 0.75. So answer of this question is going to be directly option A, that is 68.75. So that's how we can approach these kind of questions. Again, I would say that assumption of a value is important in the questions of percentage. If you are not assuming the numbers, if you are playing with variables, the questions are going to be much more difficult. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. What does it say? Okay. In an election, okay, there were 4 candidates. Okay. And 80% of the registered voters casted their votes. Okay. So what I'm going to assume now, let's look at this value. So basically this is an actual number. Unlike the previous questions where actual number was missing, this is an actual number. So instead of assuming the total number of people as 100, I am assuming total number of people are 100x. Okay. Out of 100x, 20x people didn't vote. So how many people voted? 80x. Okay. Out of 80x, 30% were casted for one candidate. So 30% of 80x is going to be 24x. Okay. Now the remaining votes are given in the ratio of 1:2:3. Okay. So 3 out of 6, that is, this guy is getting half the total votes. So I'm sorry, I have written it wrong. Just made a little mistake. So out of 80, 24x is going to go to one candidate, and remaining 56 are going to be distributed between three people in the ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 3. So 3 upon 6 is 1 by 2. So this guy must be getting 28x. 2 by 6 is 1/3. 1/3 is going to be 18.66. And remaining votes go to the first candidate. Okay. Now it says if the winner of the election received this much more than the second highest voters. So winner is definitely going to be this. Second highest candidate is going to be this. This is third one. This is fourth one. Now the difference of these two people is 4x, and that is equal to 2512. So from here, I can say x is equal to 628. So what is the total number of vote cast? That is, what is the total number of voters registered? That is 100x. So answer of this question is going to be option B, that is 62,800. So basically that's how we can get the answer of these questions. And with this, we conclude this session, and the next session is going to be on geometry. That is going to happen on Wednesday, that is tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Be connected to us and join the session, and we are going to do the previous year questions of geometry, and that will be extremely helpful. And if you look at this, I think we have done a reasonably decent job. That is more than 40% of the FMS batches ours, more than 25% of the IIM Ahmedabad batch is from Career Launcher. There are a lot of people this time. So if anyone has any doubt, you can just drop a message on the chat box. Thank you.